welcome. So let me introduce EF a little bit, because I've known it quite well. I met Alice and Matt in my office at LinkedIn some number of years ago. Like, I may have left my walker at the door here. Initially, they'll probably remember I was like, well, this whole incubator thing, that's a long list of graveyards. Lots of these things haven't worked. Why is your thing different? And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, a real deep focus on network talent versus and finding the kind of the right technical / entrepreneurial talent, approaching it in a iterative scientific way of kind of looking at like what things are working and what things aren't, and iterating on that and improving month by month, taking 360 reviews for all of the work that's being done. And so I think I more or less told you guys at the end of the meeting I was interested in investing, ended up joining the board. And part of to give you a sense of, because this is for a Silicon Valley audience, how deep the appreciation and for the mission and the talent that they are bringing to this. Not only did I invest, but my co-founder Inflection and co-founder DeepMind, Mustafa did, Sir Demis Hassabis did, and one of the things that, speaking of the British honor rolls, what Matt has done for the AI ecosystem within the UK recently made him a commander of the British Empire, which, yes, exactly. So it's great pleasure that I joined the two of you on stage.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
So we want to talk a little bit about why EF is different, to give you a flavor of what you're going to see today. And actually, one of the things that is different about what EF does is that the way we find our companies is completely different, because we don't actually find companies, we find people. And we are pretty obsessive about going to the ends of the earth to try and find the very best potential founders. And one of our underlying beliefs is that, and it's probably hard to kind of believe this here, where the world is, there's founders in every doorway and office, and you can't move for bumping into a founder. But we still believe the world is missing out on many of its best potential founders, because most ecosystems around the world are still vastly underdeveloped. They still have a lot of work to do. And it's not just building the venture capital ecosystem, it's building the idea of becoming a founder as something that's aspirational, that it's something that the most ambitious people want to do and then can take the action to make that happen. And so Matt and I started EF to basically solve that problem. So the teams that you'll see today are an amazing team of 80 people at EF who've basically scoured the earth in interesting ways. Matt, you recently were in India. I think actually you found some of the founders that we're going to see today, right?
Yeah, when Alice says that we scour the earth to find these people, it is literally true. We have 30 talent scouts around the world whose job is literally to know the names of every exceptional technical talent in all the top universities, in all the places that we operate, including India. And actually we have our partner and who runs our India office, Rahul, here today. I'm sure you'll meet him. And he said, Matt, will you come and visit this university, BITS Pilani, while you're in India, and you'll meet some great talent? I didn't look it up. I said, sure. I didn't realize this was a 13-hour trip from Bangalore, the last 4 hours of which is in a car from Delhi airport, where there isn't really a road that's designed for cars. But we got there and we found the most extraordinary concentration of technical talent, some of the hungriest, most determined people that I've ever met in all the time I've been doing this, and you'll meet some of them today. But this is the EF model. We believe that we can actually increase the supply of great companies globally by going all the way back to source, by finding extraordinary people who should be founders. In fact, if they grew up here, they would be founders. But they may be in a place where that isn't normal. They're not deeply embedded in an ecosystem of other co-founders, of venture capital, and crucially of belief. And so what Entrepreneur First does is it tries to provide all three of those things by building communities of exceptional talent around the world, helping them think through what it takes to be a globally ambitious founder, and then catalyzing a company building journey, which now culminates here in San Francisco.
And one of the things you guys should add in a little bit is, obviously Silicon Valley is very much in the AI rage, but they also may not realize how much talent there are in places that EF operates, like London, Paris, et cetera. Say a little bit about what you're seeing in kind of AI startup ideas that's global. I'm quite certain we're going to see some of that on the demo day as well, but say a little bit about the talent network.
I mean, you're going to see a lot of AI today, as you would expect. But I think if you look at the talent density within cities like London and Paris, which are surrounded by some of the world's best computer science universities, but there's still this like a reasonably nascent ecosystem to snap up that talent. And I think one of the exciting things for the companies that are relocating here from those places is the arbitrage between being able to raise here and being able to employ and build their engineering teams back home within the talent networks that they're already deep in. So I don't want to give away too much about the companies you're going to see later, but as you can imagine, there's a lot of exciting AI talent there.
Yeah, and I think in London today, having DeepMind on our doorstep, Oxford, Cambridge, Imperial, and now a big Microsoft AI hub, an OpenAI office, an Anthropic office. We really do. We operate in London, in Paris, in Bangalore, in New York. All these places have world-class universities, and actually, I think talent that, again, if it were here, would be snapped up by the big guys. But I think you'll see some of that on stage over the next hour.
And say a little bit about what are the kind of characteristics of the founders that you find as you go out in the world? Because we know there's this amazing talent, we know there's in-depth technical talent, and we know that all that needs to be is the right kind of network connections into the ecosystems of entrepreneurial knowledge, venture capital, belief about how to scale. What are some of the characteristics that you guys have found in the EF?
Well, I think one of the things that people always find amusing or interesting is we do not ask them about their ideas at all at the point where we're trying to select them, largely because their ideas are usually pretty crap. Those first ideas.
My first ideas were crap too.
So were ours. They're pretty bad. So we're not interested in ideas. All we're interested in is people. We want to know who these people are. We want to know what motivates them. We want to know what they're skilled at. What are they obsessed by? I think often there's this weird thing that when you say to people, what's your startup idea? They talk about this random thing that they think is a startup idea. And then when you say, what are you obsessed by? What have you always been obsessed by? They're like, oh, well, obviously it's X. What? X can be a startup idea too? And I think what you'll see today is just incredible founder idea fit between the founders and what they're working on. And what's amazing about the EF model is these people didn't know each other 6 months ago. So the first 3 months of EF is just like a little Petri dish in each of our locations around the world, a Petri dish of experimenting with different teams, with different ideas, and seeing what comes out of it. But I think what you'll see today is it's amazing founder idea fit, these incredibly strong bonds. Most of our founders actually have ended up living together in various ways. So they've had pretty extreme introduction to each other. But the founders and companies you're going to see today as well are very young. The founders are typically within the first kind of 5 years of their career, and the company is only incorporated in January and have only really been working on this specific idea since the beginning of the year. So I hope that you'll be impressed by just the pace and productivity of these founders, because that's one thing that we look for is you want people that can get shit done.
And what do you think is some of the lessons about what's going on with AI that you guys see from your multinational perspective that Silicon Valley people might be to see a little less clearly?
Well, I think what you're about to see is the idea. I think you'll see a lot of ideas on stage today that are sort of challenging the idea that there's going to be, 1 or 2 winners in this space. I think what you've seen globally, maybe particularly outside Silicon Valley over the last year, is this extraordinary flowering of excitement about what is now possible to build. Sometimes solving problems that are maybe not obvious if you're sitting here. You'll probably see a few ideas solving problems that you may never have come across before. I think you're going to see a lot of people thinking about how AI changes science. We were just talking about this backstage, a sort of a big theme in Europe, I think. I hope all of you have bought a lot of NVIDIA stock, but we've got an NVIDIA killer in this cohort as well. So get your short positions in. That's not investment advice before the people come on stage.
Or just buy long, which is a smarter play, but yes.
So I think we are going to wrap up here and get on with the pitches. But actually, our first pitcher read is somebody that you have met. So we're lucky to be backed by an amazing roster of Silicon Valley founders, including Reed. And we are very lucky to have these people help us out with talent events. And we actually created what we call a Hoffathon, which is a hackathon where your prize is Reid Hoffman. You start at 5 p.m. on a Friday night. We've done this a bunch of times. People absolutely love it. You start at 5 p.m. on a Friday night, and you basically build until lunchtime. And if you win, you walk straight into lunch with Reed, like, foggy-headed, walk straight into lunch with Reed. And so can we start off by giving Elio, our first presenter, a massive round of applause as the winner of the first Hoffathon.
My name is Elio. I'm the CEO of Audiogen. Remember that scene in The Matrix where Neo dodges bullets on a rooftop? It took weeks to produce the sounds for that scene. With Audiogen, it just takes minutes. Have a listen. This is Audiogen generated. We're using AI to make audio production 100 times faster. We're doing this using our very own state-of-the-art foundational models for audio generation. We are in beta, and our users have already generated over 2 million sounds. Some edit for the biggest production houses in the world. Others produce for Beyoncé and Madonna. We have also signed 2 paid enterprise API agreements and have 6 more on a wait list. I'm an ML researcher and a music maker. I know firsthand the difficulty in working with audio. I dropped out of my cognitive science degree at one of the world's top 10 universities to start Audiogen. I did this after turning down an offer from 11 Labs as a research scientist. Jacopo is a 10x ML engineer and a musician. He's led tech teams for 5 years, and he's won 5 national piano competitions in Italy. Emilio has been a founding product engineer at 2 startups and is an indie game maker. The next era of creation is AI-powered. Audiogen will reign over audio.
So I'm going to be emceeing for this afternoon and giving you a little intro to who's coming onto the stage. Now, the next founder, Malvika, I met at a dinner we were co-hosting with Greylock in New York. I remember sitting opposite her and thinking, she is one of the most ambitious people I've ever met. She's going to be talking about Shmood, her company. Give her a warm welcome.
Hi, my name is Malvika, founder of Shmood. The smart investors here today will have put money into design tech giants like Figma and Canva. And the rest of you, wish you had. But there's a larger problem that these companies do not address. The real secret is designers don't struggle with designing. That's the easy bit. They actually spend 40% of their time just trying to understand what their clients even want. Shmood is a vision alignment tool, making it easier for designers and clients to work together. Jordan, a former Apple designer of 14 years, had been going back and forth with a client for months. With Shmood, in 2 weeks, they were able to finish their project. So how does Shmood even work? Here's a little sneak peek. First, we help clients articulate useful and relevant feedback. Then, for designers, we use AI to help them organize what their clients really care about. In just 3 months, we have built a working prototype, have a passionate community of designers on Discord, and 5 design agency partners. I have worked at the intersection of design and technology for the past 6 years and graduated in the top 5% of my engineering class at Duke. And you remember Jordan? the designer that loved the product, well, he loved the product so much that he dropped everything to come work with me. 12 years ago, Figma took on the $20 billion problem of helping designers work with their team. With Shmood, we're taking on the $60 billion problem of helping them work with everyone else.
So next up, we have Zain from Trident AI. Now, Zain worked at Monzo, one of the UK's leading neobanks, full-time. He was also at the same time completing a law degree, full-time. Zain is an exceptional human. Can we welcome Zain onto the stage?
Last September, a mother of two received a phone call from her daughter. She had been in a car crash and was in hospital begging for money to pay the bills. So her mother sent $15,000, her entire life savings, only to find out it was an AI-generated voice and a scam. When you get scammed, the last line of defense is your own bank, and hers did nothing. I worked on 70,000 cases of fraud just like this at Monzo, the UK's largest digital bank. And over 4 years, I led a team of 300 investigators that stopped such scams. But we were still overwhelmed. Scammers are now using AI to commit fraud at scale, and last year managed to steal nearly $500 billion globally. At Trident, we fight AI with AI by building real-time fraud investigation agents. We reduced the investigation time from 3 days down to just 2 minutes. And the average bank spends $40 million a year on fraud prevention. We reduced those costs by 90%. We're building AI agents that enable every bank in the world to instantly intervene in every possible scam transaction. My co-founder, David, is an AI engineer who has built solutions for a defense startup, banks, and the European Union Space Agency. David and I founded Trident just 3 months ago, and we're ready to pilot our MVP with the fastest growing neobank in Kenya, where fraud is rife. And we're using those learnings in a design partnership with a New York-based fintech serving 500,000 small businesses. And in the next 3 months, we will scale this to 12 other neobanks that we're actively engaging with. The history of money is a history of fighting fraud. And Trident is here to make sure that fraud has no future.
Amazing. Right, next up is Nicholas and Arago. Now, Nicholas, we actually first heard about a couple of years ago when he was interning for one of our alumni companies. And the CEO and founder of this company, who I think actually might be in the audience, Ivan Shiparo, he messages to basically say, this guy is crazy. You've got to take him. And I think when you see what he's building, you can only agree. Nicholas, welcome to the stage.
NVIDIA did a great job, but the truth is they got lucky. Their graphic cards, initially built for gamers, turned out to be a useful solution for AI applications. But it put us in a situation where AI is too expensive and consumes way too much energy. We're Arago, and we believe that AI is important enough to warrant its own computing platform. You've probably seen dozens of startups making AI chips. I know them too, but they cannot scale. And I know that my words won't be enough. And this is why, today, I am thrilled to introduce Jeff, our very first prototype. This is the first AI training processor using light. We took a GPU, removed the transistors, and replaced them with lasers. This technology will double the computing power with only 1% of the energy normally required. Elliot, my co-founder and CTO, is one of the very few world experts in photonic computation. And he's also the only French winner of the Google Science Fair. I'm Nicholas. I'm an MIT graduate in machine learning with a previous position in the semiconductor industry. Today, we are already working with leading cloud providers and AI companies to ship our first cluster. Edge AI cannot run on chips made for gamers. Edge AI will run on Arago. Thank you.
Okay, so who thinks they're a good spouse? My spouse actually is in the audience, so hopefully he doesn't respond to that. Well, our next set of co-founders, the CTO saw the struggles that his wife was having at work and has fixed them. Let's welcome ClarityCare.
Doctors are some of the most highly educated and highly paid individuals in America. And yet, so many of them spend their time not with patients, but on admin. And it goes beyond doctors. 1.5 million nurses are employed by insurance companies just to evaluate your claims. In fact, my co-founder's wife, Emilia, who studied 6 years to become a pharmacist, is one of those reviewers. Instead of using her clinical knowledge, she spends 90% of her time sifting through documents. We're ClarityCare AI. We're streamlining Emilia's work with LLMs. With us, she can process cases 4 times faster every single day. And this really matters right now. Regulation is forcing insurance to change turnaround times from 3 weeks down to 3 days. I know it's crazy. In just 4 months. We've moved fast to get our MVP in front of our first 4 potential clients. We've spent over 120 hours co-designing it with them. For each of these partnerships, we can help them unlock a 60% net increase in profit margin. I'm Hermione, and I'm the CEO of ClarityCare AI. I'm an award-winning machine learning researcher from MIT. I spent my entire time there understanding the ins and outs of LLMs for medical data. Alex is my co-founder and CTO. He spent the last 5 years deploying big data models in highly regulated environments, including insurance. Remember this, 1% of US GDP is spent on health insurance admin. We're ClarityCare AI. We're coming for it.
So our next team is one of the teams that has moved super fast building and shipping products. And at the beginning of EF, we had this sort of petri dish stage where they're experimenting with different ideas. They were getting products out the door, they were getting hundreds of users, but it wasn't quite the right idea. But actually, they noticed a massive pain point by going through that process. Let's welcome Pat onto the stage.
Working with language models is bloody weird. Why does telling a language model to take a deep breath suddenly improve its ability to solve problems? They don't have lungs. And why does this AI-generated Star Trek-themed prompt make Llama 2 do maths calculations best? It's no wonder that one of our customers, Lola, spends 50 hours a month on prompt engineering, and she still can't launch to production. Outerop helps Lola improve the quality of her outputs by 4 times. And now she can switch from OpenAI to Claude in just 2 clicks without rewriting prompts. How? We use language models to generate the best prompts, and they learn based on Lola's data, feedback, and evaluations. Everyone else is building for the 300,000 machine learning engineers. We're building for the 28 million software engineers like Lola and her product team. Stephen and I are both product people, and we love to ship. We've built Outerop in 2 months alongside 4 design partners. As a product manager, I incubated JP Morgan's first AI startup, doing natural language processing, and then built and scaled product teams as the COO of a Series A company. Stephen, my co-founder, is the most cracked engineer that I know. At 22, he was the youngest head of engineering at Fox. Yes, the media company Fox. And he worked directly with the CTO. He's built and deployed Gen AI applications to production. Gen AI will be a part of every product. Those products will be built, managed, and improved with Outerop. Thank you.
So as investors, we all know that you don't want to be too late, but you also don't want to be too early. Now, our next team has timed it absolutely perfectly. Let's welcome Altrove.
The shift to clean technologies requires astronomical amounts of insecure minerals like rare earths or gallium. 100 manufacturing companies told us the same thing. They need alternatives now.
This is their answer. Our AI designed the recipe for this new magnet material, and I carried it out. With a self-driving lab, Altrove will develop new materials 100 times faster than ever before. I'm Jonathan. I'm a PhD materials scientist, and I was top of my year at Cambridge. We are the only ones who can turn prediction that looks like this to reality because we have a unique insight on the most critical part of this process, characterization. That is what enables our AI to iterate fast until it finds the optimal recipe.
I'm Thibaut, a repeat founder who successfully built, grew, and exited my previous startups. In just 3 months, we've seen incredible traction. We shipped the first version of our AI model, used it to build a new material, and signed paying global customers in defense and consumer electronics working on their most stringent materials problems. Founders of iconic AI and materials companies are backing us on our generational journey. We will own, manufacture, and sell the most critical materials of the 21st century.
So join us at Altrove, where we are building the materials of tomorrow, today.
Right, next up we have Novogaia. So Tess and David went to some of the best AI biotech universities in Europe. And I think it's fair to say that the problem they are working on is mushrooming.
Hi, we're David and Tess. Hidden all around us are molecules worth billions of dollars, produced by fungi. Fungi are complex organisms that thrive in extreme conditions. Because of this, their chemistry is the most diverse found in nature. What is crazy is only 10% of the molecules fungi produce have been explored. And from this tiny sliver, we found antibiotics, crop protection, and cancer drugs. At Novogaia, we're unlocking the next 90% of molecules from fungi. I'm a biochemist, and David is a published AI researcher that worked on problems just like this previously at a top pharma company. We're building models to rapidly screen the DNA of fungi and pinpoint the most valuable molecules.
Our technology will discover the undiscovered molecules in fungi. This will tackle some of the biggest problems we face as humanity, from drug discovery to food security and beyond. Agriculture is a great place to start. They are already working with fungi, and they're excited. Leading agrochemical companies like Syngenta are sitting on a gold mine of fungal data. We will turn this raw data into commercializable products, selling our discoveries into the $240 billion agrochemicals market. We've already signed 2 paid design partnerships and are working with global experts to deliver the first batch of molecules that have never been seen before.
We're learning from nature to reawaken molecular discovery. We are Novogaia.
Right, next up, we have Louis from Cube. This is a team that has been shipping and building and moving insanely fast. Louis, welcome.
Logistics is hard to automate. People have tried building online platforms, marketplaces, and EDI connections. But the problem remains. How do we bring logistics companies out of the 90s? Truth is, we can't. A guy trying to ship bananas out of Latin America won't have dedicated software. As a result, everyone in the chain needs to adapt to the greatest common denominators: emails and phone calls. At Cube AI, we're building an AI copilot that automates logistics operations. Our initial focus was order entry. In just 4 months, we got our 3 paying design partners down from 3 minutes per booking to only 30 seconds. Just for this, we have 23 other companies on our waiting list, including the 4th largest logistics provider in the world. I'm Louis, the CEO. I grew up in the logistics hub of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and was previously doing multimodal generative AI machine learning at the University of Cambridge. Our CTO, Sasha, has a PhD in physics and published in top journals like Cell and Nature Methods. And our CPO, Victor, previously founded and scaled a social media network to more than 50,000 users. Eliminating manual data entry is just our entry point. We're building an AI employee that will automate 70% of the back office work in the $10 trillion logistics industry. We are Cube AI, and together, we get shit done.
Next up, we have Marco. Marco, I remember one of our team in London messaging me saying, I found this guy on Twitter, and he's tweeting the most incredible things about AI agents. He's got no followers, and it looks like he might be 19. He is one of the most ambitious and interesting people we've ever met. Welcome, Marco.
Hey everyone, my name is Marco. I'm the CEO and founder of Kortix. Kortix is a one-stop platform to build, host, monitor, and train your entire AI workforce. I just graduated high school, during which I built a software development company managing 30-plus projects, a team of 10, and making $2 million of revenue in the process. The work we did was very valuable, and I'm extremely proud of what we have accomplished. But when I look to the future, I realize that we're on the cusp of automating it all. In fact, it's happening right now. We have signed over 100K in LOIs, and our first customers are building AI recruiters, customer service agents, and data scientists. These AI agents can analyze and create data, read and write emails, join meetings, and talk, just like humans. They will be augmenting the work of hundreds of human employees so they can spend less time on mundane tasks and more on what actually matters. Kortix is an essential management tool of this new era. We are enabling the migration from a human to an AI workforce.
Right, so the next company, Scope, you're going to hear more about it from Johnny. It is a very overlooked industry, despite, and this is the team's joke, not mine, being full of high-vis vests. Welcome, Johnny.
This is a quality control report. Every product and every process in the supply chain needs one and needs inspection. But writing and reviewing these reports, that's slow, manual, and frankly, boring. We're Scope, and we're replacing this $250 billion industry with one multimodal AI copilot. Inspection is an industry that is 150 years old, yet 90% of the data entry is still manual and slow. We fixed this, taking inspections from weeks to hours. Every company at the start of the supply chain hires a third-party inspection company. And these companies have a massive problem. They can't hire enough inspectors. As regulation rises, they have more work than they can handle. They need automation now. In our first 10 weeks, we've started working with 3 different companies who serve organizations from SpaceX to the Korean fleet. And it's a massive market. We're looking at an average contract value of $400,000. Our first product is a QA tool for manufacturing inspectors, allowing them to review hundreds of pages in minutes. And from here, we're scaling to report generation and then to automate the whole market. And we love boring manual markets. I'm Johnny. I previously built document workflow tools for companies from Samsung to JP Morgan, and my co-founder Jakob, who's kind of a genius, built the core ML infrastructure for the legal industry in Belgium. Inspection will one day be automated. Humans, we're not good at doing it. Scope is.
So our next founders, Aman and Sid, we actually found through the fellowship program we run on campuses across the UK. It's called Polaris, and the idea is that it brings together super ambitious students who feel frustrated by the education system that they're in. Aman has actually also just flown in from San Diego, where he's got some exciting news which he will share with you as well.
I'm Aman, CEO of PathFinder. If you've got kids, you already know what I'm about to say is the dark secret of our modern society. We send our kids to what are essentially prisons for 13 years of their lives. If our current K-12 system didn't exist today, no one would invent it. That was my experience. When I was 14, I started skipping school. I was accelerated to doing my exams 2 years early, when my school didn't provide me with the resources to continue to push myself. My co-founder, Sid, grew up in 7 different education systems. When he was 11, he came 4th in the world in the International Cyber Olympiad. Change is inevitable, and it's already begun. Since COVID, almost 2 million kids in the US have opted in for a new system called microschools. An extraordinary movement growing at 50% every year. And Sid and I know this works because last year we ran our own microschool. At PathFinder, we want to make extraordinary schooling experiences the norm. PathFinder is a student-first AI that curates the resources that kids need in the moment that they are learning. Let's take Dylan, who's super excited about space. PathFinder guides him through the resources to learn about rocket propulsion, helps him start his first model rocket project, all the way to becoming a SpaceX engineer. And kids love PathFinder. It's the reason we've grown so quickly. Kids are skipping recess to continue to use PathFinder and choosing to use it at home during their spare time. Parents have even pulled together the money to buy PathFinder for one of our schools who couldn't afford it. And in 3 months, we've grown to 12 schools purely through word of mouth, and every single one of our demo calls has converted. I've just flown in from San Diego, visiting a school network that is piloting PathFinder to build up to a 300K contract. Personal AIs are the future. And the winner here will feel like the one they've known you since you were a kid. PathFinder is already there.
So our next CEO, Vibha of Unproject, is one of the world's top designers. And alongside building Unproject, she's actually about to start lecturing at Stanford on XR design alongside Meta and Unity. Welcome, Vibha.
Hi, I'm Vibha, the CEO of Unproject. The next era of computing is spatial. If you've tried the Vision Pro, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We're on the brink of a platform shift that's going to be as powerful as smartphones. But we're still in the wild, wild west of XR. The infrastructure we take for granted to create great smartphone apps does not exist yet for XR. To create a single prototype, teams spend 1 to 2 months in XR. But mobile teams need just 2 to 3 days. That's because XR teams need to use Unity, which is a development tool. Mobile teams have Figma. There is no Figma for XR, but not anymore. We've built Unproject so teams can rapidly prototype and collaborate in just 2 to 3 days. In 6 weeks, we've worked with 7 handpicked design partners, including a leading game engine and the biggest industrial design tool for XR. We've also got 650 designers on our beta list waiting to use Unproject. I've previously worked as a senior product designer for several startups, including Gojek. I was also listed by Adobe as a top 10 designer across the world. My co-founder, Ray, built his first AR headset at just 16. He later worked at Intel as a research scientist to build foundational libraries that power the headsets we use today. We're on Project. We're building design tools for spatial computing.
Next up, we have Zaidel. The founders, Corey and Seema, are so talented that they've decided to automate themselves out of a job. Let's welcome Corey.
Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing? I'm Corey, CEO of Zaidel. Zaidel is an autonomous agent that builds, deploys, and maintains predictive AI. Generative AI is what everyone's talking about, but predictive AI is the workhorse of modern industry. For example, reducing churn can be solved with customer churn models, a canonical predictive AI task. The problem is, while generative AI is an API call away, predictive AI models have to be built from scratch by specialized AI engineers every time. This makes it inaccessible for most businesses, and that's why we built Zaidel. Zaidel turns your data teams into AI engineers overnight. Remember customer churn? Now it's easy. Just upload data, and Zaidel automatically generates an AI model using the same tools a human AI engineer would use. Then deploys that model directly into your business workflow. It feels like magic. Our CTO, Seema, has built these models for a decade. She's a patented AI researcher with a PhD from Cornell, and she's led the development of flagship AI models at Elsevier, HSBC, and Deliveroo. And her model at Deliveroo increased ad revenue by 22%. I built predictive AI models at Oxford's Kai Lab and co-founded a startup that raised $8.3 million, scaled that to $220 million valuation, and sent a human to space via Blue Origin. In just 4 weeks, we've shipped our platform with 2 signed contracts and 4 more in the pipeline, including a $10 billion global enterprise. One model Zaidel generated has processed 600,000 business decisions to make predictions for 10,000 stores, including PetSmart and Dollar General. We're Zaidel, the AI that builds AI. Thank you. We're in the purple shirt.
So a third of the companies presenting here today have either a female CTO or a female CEO. We run a series of events across all of our sites to not only find female founders, potential future female founders, but also to help them understand what the process of founding looks like, finding super ambitious women and pointing them in the direction of founding. Our next company, you'll only get to meet Iris, but Iris and her co-founder Chloe, we found at one of these events. They're moving super fast. Please welcome Theremia to the stage.
Does anyone here remember the zolpidem case? Hundreds of women that were taking the sleeping pill died in a car accident in the next morning. So what happened? Well, for women, these drugs lingers far longer in the system compared to men. Existing medications do not take into account differences in gender, age, weight, or other drugs you're taking. As a result, drugs only work for 40% of the population. So what about the other 60%? Pharma companies are losing billions in revenue because these people are not taking that treatment. The industry is trying to create new version of drug for them, but this is expensive, and the FDA is asking for much stronger proof of efficacy. So this is exactly where Theremia steps in. We are a cutting-edge AI platform that revolutionizes how we improve drug. We leverage patient data in order to understand where current medications fall short. In less than 5 months, Theremia secured unique access to the largest patient database in Europe and in the US in neurological disease. Then, we translate these patient outcomes into designs of drug derivatives that actually work. My co-founder, the Dr. Chloé Geoffroy, is one of the only person in the world that can do that through unique knowledge at the intersection of biology, chemistry, and AI. And on my side, I'm Iris, CEO of Theremia. I've spent the last year working for the biggest pharmaceutical companies in the world. It actually allowed us to initiate pilot negotiation worth over $100,000 and secure 2 of the biggest pharma companies as design partners. So join us in this healthcare revolution. It might sound that we're just making the world better, but we make a ton of money in this process together.
So some of you might have seen on Twitter or social media about a defense hackathon we ran in El Segundo about a month ago. We're seeing more and more talent, young talent, that's really interested in building in the defense space. And Noah and Ellery are exactly those people. Welcome Telepathic to the stage.
It's Afghanistan, 2018. Troops are entering a civilian building in close-quarter combat with a suspected terrorist. Their aim? To move through the building as a cohesive unit in constant communication in complete silence. But their tools are broken. Communication in complete silence relies on 2 things. 1, learning a new set of visual sign language, and 2, maintaining a clear line of sight so messages that can convey life or death can be seen. Military strategist John Boyd said, "Machines don't fight wars, people do, and they use their minds."
At Telepathic, we can read your mind, and we can do it non-invasively. This means that we know what you're going to say before you can even say it. This was previously only possible using large immobile equipment like fMRIs and PET scans, or required invasive surgeries.
In just 3 weeks, we have tripled our single word accuracy, which is incredible. I'm Noah. I was a software engineer working in low latency information transfer. I was going to join the Naval Surface Warfare Center in Dahlgreen, Virginia, before starting this company.
I'm Ellery Buntel. I left the third year of a PhD in brain-computer interfaces to co-found Telepathic. I was working on the cutting edge of decoding language from brain data using machine learning.
The United States military now classifies human-machine interfaces as a critical area of adoption. This is the same investment category as AI, autonomy, and space technologies. This technology will change the way that war is fought.
And thanks to Telepathic, we will win.
We're going to kick off with a team that has their lab based in Champagne. And if that sounds super decadent, it isn't. It's a town in the northeast of France. But can we welcome to the stage Marco from Syntetica?
Hi, I'm Marco, co-founder and CEO of Syntetica. Fashion brands need materials recycled directly from clothing waste. But current recycling technologies don't do this. Each year, we incinerate more than $100 billion of textile waste. Only Syntetica can solve this. We've developed a breakthrough chemical process tailored to recycling synthetic textiles, starting with nylon. Take these leggings. They're made of blended nylon and elastane. Our process breaks these leggings down to their building blocks, nylon and elastane, so that we can recreate a new pair of leggings once again. The fashion brands we've been showing this to are struck. They've never seen anything like this before, and in just 5 months, we're finalizing contracts worth over $240,000 with industry-leading brands, such as Victoria's Secret, Itam, and a major luxury brand. Louis, my co-founder, developed the process. Louis is one of Europe's leading chemical experts, with a PhD in molecular catalysis and a decade of experience in plastic depolymerization. As for me, Marco, I recently led the growth team of a fashion marketplace, scaling revenue from $1 to $40 million in 2 years. Every single person in this room is wearing at least an item of clothing that only our process can recycle. At Syntetica, our vision is to keep recycling them forever. Thank you very much.
Now, our next CEO, Mason, we found at Yale. And the way we found him was we were talking to a professor there, and we said, hey, who is the most impressive person you know on campus? He said, well, Mason. There's absolutely no way you will get him. Well, guess what? We did. Welcome, Mason and Nico.
As we speak, Vantager is doing due diligence on every one of you. The future of your fund lies in our hands. We help the world's largest capital allocators decide whether or not they will invest in you. Despite the near $25 trillion being invested in private markets, they remain a wild west of unstructured data. Now is the time to build the infrastructure for the next 100 trillion. I'm Mason, and long before building Vantager, I was building predictive models on all of you. While at Yale, I submitted countless FOIA requests to get the data that I needed for my models, which were published and received over 100,000 views.
And I'm Nico, an AI engineer previously building high-performance systems, trading over 100 million in weekly volume. And before that, I was conducting deep tech investment research and automating back-office financial workflows at Blue Yard Capital. Together, with a dozen LPs managing $75 billion, we are redefining due diligence. Our AI platform ingests any data room and instantly delivers analysis, benchmarks, and reports tailored to each investor's unique strategy. Take a look around us. Private markets are the heart of innovation, and Vantager is the key to unlocking its full potential. We empower investors to find and fund the next revolutionary ideas that will define this century. Thank you.
So for our next team, it wasn't actually until we tried to get them to the venue here today that I learned you can get a pickup truck on Uber. So if you could welcome Upside Robotics to the stage.
$200 billion is what farmers spend on fertilizers every year. But what's crazy is that $130 billion is wasted, washed away. Meet Steven, a corn farmer. Steven has to apply fertilizers every year. How much? Well, he tries to guess, but it is impossible to predict conditions 6 months in advance. How does he apply? Well, with expensive labor and outdated technologies. So Steven oversprays a lot, by 300%.
That's why we founded Upside Robotics. Our fleet of robots live in the fields, enabling continuous crop care. Each robot autonomously analyzes the plant using AI to apply exactly what's needed, when needed, day or night.
And it's not just Steven. We had 9 paid trials and for $150 per acre in just 4 days. And there was 1 billion acres in North America. I'm Jana, a chemical engineer from Imperial. I spent 7 years in the food industry. I commercialized food innovations and led regenerative agriculture for Unilever.
I'm Sam, a mechatronics engineer from the University of Waterloo. And I built everything from autonomous cars for General Motors to drones used by the US Department of Defense. Together, we share a vision of tens of millions of robots collaborating to take care of farmers' fields.
We are Upside Robotics. Help us feed the future. Thank you.
I'll let him go first, or her, or it. So this is just going to take a little bit of time. And while we wait, thank you to those of you who are tweeting. We really appreciate the love on social media. We are obviously new in town, so anything you could do to help build noise and the word, we would really appreciate that. Now, our next team, well, hopefully, I suppose, the pictures so far has got your heart racing. Some pretty exciting pictures. But if you are in need of a checkup, this team might be able to help. So after the pictures, they will be over here demoing their project, demoing their product. So let's welcome Lou to the stage. Tell us more about LightHearted.
One in 3 of you will die because of a heart disease. And you'll get your first diagnosis in the emergency room. And that's just too late. Hi, I'm Lou, CEO and co-founder of LightHearted. We have developed a novel laser-based device that can diagnose heart conditions early. During our pilot study, a semi-professional footballer walked in thinking he's healthy. We shine the laser at his neck from a distance, and 10 seconds later, we know he has a heart condition. So how did we do that? We used laser light to extract heart sounds, ECG, blood pressure, and several other biomarkers, non-invasively, without the need of a clinician and with unprecedented data accuracy. I developed this device during my PhD in photonics, and soon after, I had all the physicists in the building coming down to my lab, demanding I give them a heart scan. That's why I decided to open LightHearted. My co-founder and CTO, Dilip, was a research consultant at Columbia. And then he was the first employee at a deep medtech startup where he led the R&D team build AI tools for neurosurgeons during open brain operations. Since joining forces, we have filed 3 patents. We have cut the hardware cost by 95%. We have successfully run a clinical trial in the NHS that validated our technology, and we are on track to get regulatory approvals in the next 3 months. And heart disease diagnostics is just one application. Our device will open a new era of non-invasive, full-body health scans. So now, if I've got you worried about your heart condition, come to LightHearted tonight to get a free health scan. Thank you.
So our next founders, Vincent and Lucas, bonded in the early days of EF because they realized that both of their fathers, both of their dads, had emigrated to new countries to find work. But they'd emigrated to countries where they didn't know the language. Let's give a huge round of applause to Vincent and Lucas.
Real-time translation today is broken.
Je suis Vincent, un NLP chercheur de Carnegie Mellon. J'ai dirigé une équipe de 20 ingénieurs à L'Oréal, à qui je dois une fière chandelle.
As you can see, translation today does not understand you or your work and is not good enough to enable truly multilingual work. At Toby, we're enabling you to work with anyone in any language.
We're building a local application that translates all audio and text on your computer in real time, meaning you're speaking English on Zoom or writing messages on Slack, and in real time, it's translating to Spanish as if you were a native.
Freelancers who work fluently in English earn 3 times more than those who don't. Juan joined our platform just a few weeks ago. He's a designer from Colombia who only speaks Spanish. With Toby, just recently, he was able to find an English-speaking job that he wouldn't have found otherwise that increased his salary from $13 an hour to $40 an hour.
And he's not the only one. Our users have generated over 6,000 minutes of usage, and we've identified 50 super users who we work closely with to rapidly iterate on our product. And our wait list, this is from a couple days ago and already outdated. We were at 3,000 then. We're pushing 4,000 today, and it's doubling every week.
Vincent already introduced himself using current solutions. But allow me to introduce myself using Toby's real-time speech translation software.
Hola, soy Lucas.
Hello,
Me gradué de Colombia
I'm
y
Lucas.
hablo 4 idiomas.
I graduated from Colombia and speak 4 languages. I've built products as a PM at Amazon and helped them rapidly grow at startups like Merge.
We're building a world where the language you speak does not limit your career potential. Work fluently with anyone, anywhere. Thank you.
So I remember being in the London office in the summer And the team kept on talking about Sophie, Sophie, Sophie. The team were obsessed with this woman called Sophie. And then I met her, and I realized why. You're about to meet Sophie. We ended up inviting her to lunch with John Collison. She joined the program, and the rest is history. Please welcome Sophie and her co-founder Leo to the stage.
I used to be a professional athlete, top 50 worldwide. But I missed the Olympics because of an injury. Like me, 91% of athletes get injured, costing to their clubs over $8 billion a year in the US alone.
That's why we're building wearables to help athletes train better and prevent injuries. Our product is a reusable EMG patch that scans your muscles and gives you insights to prevent injuries using AI. You stick the patch on your muscle, and a personal AI coach will monitor you, telling you how much you should push yourself to achieve your goals faster. We have a working prototype, several upcoming pilots with national and college teams, and a community of over 1,000 fitness enthusiasts. I did research at Cambridge University on EMG for fitness wearables. I was a college athlete. I started a gym when I was 15, and I've coached over 200 athletes.
And I started university when I was 13, became professor at the age of 22, have been guest lecturer at UC Berkeley on sports tech, and won several international engineering competitions, such as Elon Musk Not a Boring Competition. We are Athlete IQ, and our goal is to help athletes never get injured again. Thank you.
So next up is Amartya and CodeAnt. Now this team, they started off in Bangalore, now based here. And this team has been building and shipping super fast from day one. Please give a warm welcome to Amartya from CodeAnt.
Hi guys, I'm Amartya from CodeAnt AI. We are an AI to auto-fix bad code and security vulnerabilities. Today, developers spend countless number of hours in making sure their code base is bug-free, secure, and optimized. With CodeAnt AI, they can do it in a single click. Imagine if you're a developer, the PR that you just created, CodeAnt AI will scan it, find the most important and impactful security vulnerabilities and code issues, and give you one-click auto-fixing. That's exactly what we do. We launched 4 weeks ago, and since then, over 2,600 developers have used CodeAnt AI to auto-fix 150,000 code issues. We are already doing $42,000 in ARR, and we are live in large organizations like Excel Data, which is $100 million funded. The market opportunity for this is $5 billion, where we directly compete with old and slow incumbents. Incumbents like SonarSource, Veracode, Synopsys. The best part is we replace them. As of today, all of our current customers have churned out from either one of them. But why? These players or incumbents only detect bad code. Auto-fixing will kill detection. This is one of the customer case study of Drop. They have 80+ engineers. CodeAnt AI scanned their 1.5 million lines of code, auto-fixed 1,200 code issues, and saved them 2,000 developer hours, or 83 development days. the founding team worked on the exact same problems in large organizations like Amazon, ShareChat, and Zeta. We are CodeAnt AI. Let's have a chat.
Okay, so next up we have Zoiya. So I remember one of our team in London telling me there's this guy that I went to university with who was top of his year, really good friend of mine, but there's no way he'll do EF. No way, no way. Anyway, many months later, we have Zoiya now with us. And I remember interviewing his co-founder as well, Tiffany. And in her interview, it became clear that she was not only technically gifted, but insanely ambitious. They're an amazing team. Let's welcome Zoiya to the stage.
Hey, my name is Zoiya. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Zoiya. $32 billion will be spent this year on creator marketing, yet the digital space within their videos is untapped. Just like you see with this Vita Coco bottle, Zoiya enables brands to seamlessly place any product into a creator's video. Today, a simple product placement costs $60,000 and takes over 3 months to complete. With our model, we make this 100 times cheaper and 1,000 times faster. Here's how it works. The creator chooses their spot for placement, they prompt the model, it then adds the product to the frame. Since we started 3 months ago, we've secured partnerships with global artists worth up to $100,000. We've been able to move so fast because we have one of the only models in the world that gives creators complete control over any video frame, giving them a powerful new way to monetize their content. This is me and Tiffany. I'm a creator and second-time founder, and she's a scientist with a PhD in machine learning. Together, we're uniquely positioned to unlock the power of creativity. But product placement is just the start. If you want to be part of a future where anyone can edit any video in any way, at any time, come talk to us. And Adobe, we're coming for you.
So our next founder, Victor, founder of CamPlan, he started developing for the Vision Pro in October. He got early access to develop on the platform because Apple loved what he was building so much. Let's welcome Victor.
Hey, I'm Victor, the CEO of CamPlan. This is how the interior of a house is designed today, using 3D modeling software on a 2D screen. It doesn't make sense, takes months, and hasn't changed over 20 years. With CamPlan, we are changing that. Let me paint you the scene. Here, I am standing in my actual bedroom wearing the Vision Pro. I am telling the AI copilot to render a 3D version of my bedroom with the proper dimensions. Then, I am telling it to add a table with a chair. And finally, to add some decoration to feel more cozy. And it does it in the real world, just by using voice commands. And what if you don't have a Vision Pro? Not a problem. You can access it right on your phone. Our users are homeowners, designers, and renovation companies. And they love it. We have 6,000 monthly active users, and 7% of them are already paying for it. And it's all organic. I have built multiple augmented reality apps in the past from scratch alone that were featured by Apple and downloaded nearly 500,000 times. With CamPlan, we are bringing design from the 2D screen to the real world.
so next up we have Synthera AI. So Mariana, who you're about to meet, she emigrated to the UK when she was 16 from Colombia, all by herself, because she wanted to get a better education. Let's welcome Mariana to the stage.
Meteorites. Pretty damn rare, right? What if I told you events that financial risk models claim are as unlikely as a meteor strike actually happen all the time? Don't believe me? Since 2020, we've had COVID, negative oil prices, and an interest rate crisis, wiping out £500 billion from UK pensions. Why? Investors are tied to inflexible models that overlook key risks and historical data showing just one of thousands of things that could happen. At Synthera, we're changing the game by allowing investors to simulate any scenario with synthetic market data. Stocks, bonds, you name it. Our backtests are already 10 times more accurate at forecasting risk. This means we could save one of our design partners $18 million in 1 year. And that's just for a team of 4. So imagine what we could do for a whole company. We will be as indispensable to investors as Bloomberg. Lucas holds 3 master's degrees and has 5 years of industry experience in quantitative finance and AI. I'm Mariana. I recently left Goldman Sachs Asset Management, where I experienced this pain firsthand. Our scientific advisor, a globally renowned professor, pioneered the innovations that make this possible for the first time. We already have proprietary Gen AI models and design partners like Point72. Investors have made a $150 trillion bet that history will repeat itself. But it hasn't, and it won't. At Synthera, we prepare for any future, not just replay the past.
Next up, we have Hanomi. So as you may know, a key part of the EF company building methodology is helping people find their co-founders. These carefully screened groups of individuals are brought together, and about 80% of people find their co-founder within about 8 weeks. Now, for Marco and Drishti, they didn't find their co-founder within their own pool. Marco and Drishti started off in different locations. Marco in Paris, Drishti in Bangalore. They suddenly realized that actually they had a very clear overlap in interests and very complementary skills. Marco jumped on a plane to Bangalore and spent the next couple of months in Bangalore building alongside Drishti. Hanomi is what they've produced. Give them a warm welcome.
When was the last time that you ran away when a hardware startup was pitched to you? Hardware is really hard, right? Here's why. This is what a well-crafted 3D render looks like. It took 4 months to create. Now this is what it needs to look like before going into production. This took 7 years and more than 100 engineers.
At Hanomi, we empower teams to go from this 3D render to this detailed design in months, not years. I am Marco, the CEO of Hanomi. I worked at NASA on the Mars rover mission and in Formula One as an aerodynamics engineer. Within just 3 months, we co-developed our MVP with engineers who worked at Tesla, SpaceX, and Formula One, training an AI model that matches the expertise of veteran engineers. 4 precision engineering companies are using our MVP to go from this 3D design to manufacturing specs in just a fraction of the time.
I am Drishti, and I was the youngest contributor to PyTorch and NumPy globally. I have deployed AI systems for Delhi government and Microsoft, and this, coupled with my publications, form the backbone of our product. We will replace outdated engineering design tools and manual workflows to disrupt a market that's worth $27 billion.
Today, engineers use tools that are the equivalent of digital pen and paper. But tomorrow, they will be using Hanomi.
So I don't know what you were all doing in your college dorm rooms, but I can assure you it was not what Luke was doing. Let's welcome Luke to the stage, founder of Arctas.
I'm Luke, the founder of Arctas. In college, like most kids, I didn't have a lot of money. But instead of getting a job, I sold $3 million of PPE to different government agencies. And I went down this really strange rabbit hole of small business government contracting. It turns out it's not just a strange rabbit hole. It's actually a massive market. The federal government alone reserves $163 billion a year just for small businesses. But to most, it's a black box. Raytheon and McKinsey aren't sitting around scrolling through government websites. They're working with the government to create opportunities themselves. And small businesses can do the exact same thing. We're building the tools for small businesses to play the game like the best. Arctas uses AI to find opportunities before they're public, get insights on government buyers to shape the requirements of contracts, and manage your team to write the best proposals. With Arctas, small businesses can scale their impact and make millions in the process. People from the White House and the GSA have joined us in building this, because even the government knows that small businesses are the future of government contracting. Join us in our mission of helping small businesses capture the next $1 trillion of government spending. Thank you.
So our next CEO who's going to be presenting, Thomas, is originally from our Paris cohort. And we actually heard about him when he was not only top of his year at university, but he'd also chosen to drop out. Welcome, Thomas.
Okay, today there are two things you need to remember. The first thing is CreateApp has built the most advanced application generation platform in the world. The second thing is it doesn't even matter. And I will tell you why. But before that, I will show you a demo. This is CreateApp. In this example, one of our users wanted to develop an event listing application. He just described it and directly got his application, a list of events. But this may not have been exactly what he wanted, so he prompted and prompted again until getting exactly what he wanted. Now he can filter events by name, location, and even click on individual events to see their details. This, we made it possible through breakthroughs in algorithmic advancement. But this, again, it doesn't matter. Why? Because generating code that works will become a commodity. So, what matters? Well, human preferences data. You see that our user, he had to prompt many times to get the result he wanted. This was not because the code didn't work. It was because the code didn't do what he wanted. Think about this way. Why do you go on Google? Is it because they have the best algorithms in the world? Probably not. The reason you go to Google is because they have all of humanity's data on search. So you get exactly what you want faster than anyone else. This is exactly what we're doing for software generation. Today, I am 21. But ever since I was 13, I have been developing applications. Hundreds of applications, used by hundreds of thousands of users. My co-founder is the same. He has built applications for small companies and very large companies, like Red Bull. Yesterday, they came to us because we knew how to code. Tomorrow, they will come to CreateApp because our models will do exactly what they want, faster than anyone else. Thank you.
Okay, we're into the final three. I know it's getting pretty hot in here. Things are heating up, but we're into the final three companies. Now, next up, we have Shmood. And we do find, Reed was asking at the beginning, what are the things that we look for? And one of the questions we ask when we're interviewing people is, what is the most exceptional thing you've done relative to your peers? Now give me another example. Now give me another example. Now give me another example. And for the very best, it just rolls off the tongue. They've outperformed at everything they've ever done. Now Shmood was a national competitor in India for the 400-meter sprint. Pretty cool, right? He's also a top product manager and is now building Iterate AI. Welcome, Shmood.
Hi, folks. I am Shmood, co-founder and CEO of Iterate AI. We are building an AI agent to help product managers make faster product iterations without developer dependencies. Do you know what's the biggest pain growth PMs in your portfolio companies face? Well, I have been one, and I scaled an app to 1 million users. Often I would sit to analyze a product feature, but get stuck due to missing analytics events. Then I would chase my developer friends for a week to add the events, wait for 2 more weeks for the release to go live, and then 2 more weeks for data to get collected. And guess what? This circus happens with every new feature release, and even developers hate doing this. So we started Iterate to solve this problem. And in just 1 month, we have built our first version, where PMs can connect their product's GitHub repo, select any UI element where they want event tracking. Our AI agent automatically traces the source code of the element and inserts the event tracking snippet. And then PMs can publish this instantly without waiting for the next release. But you know what's even more exciting? Unlike other no-code tools, Iterate plugs into the code base only once and removes all recurring dependencies. Not just for event tracking, but for copy changes, UI updates, experiment setup, and so much more. Everything happening in real time. As of today, this presents us a $5 billion opportunity across 500,000 consumer apps worldwide that use Mixpanel, Segment, or Firebase. As former growth PMs and founding engineers, we are the perfect team to transform product managers into 10x product managers.
So now, when you think about founders, you think of hoodies, you think of trainers. I'm going to say, sometimes if you walk into our office in South Park, you think of a particular smell. But our next founders have been donning suits for the last couple of months to hustle and sneak into every conference and lab they can get their hands on. Please welcome Tetsuone Scientific.
Climate change, antibiotic resistance, and mass extinction. Our world is ending, and science is moving too slowly to save it. Our brightest minds should be at the whiteboard with new ideas, but they're not. They're at the bench with pipettes. Innovation today is bottlenecked by skilled scientific labor.
My name is Theo Schaefer. I'm a former MIT and NASA engineer, and I'm the CTO of Tetsuone.
I'm Christian Ponce, CEO of Tetsuone. I've been assembling novel genomes since I was a kid, and I've been editing them since I was a teenager. I dropped out of Caltech to change science.
Tetsuone's first customer develops life-saving gene therapies, but millions of unique experiments stand in between ideas and the cure. While lab robots exist, there is a major gap in terms of intelligence between them and human scientists. Current robots can't execute on high-level prompt, understand the context of experiment, or react to experimental data. This intelligence gap rendered robots irrelevant for tasks like R&D.
How do you make a car self-driving? You need two things, sensors and software. So we're building the sensors and software to make existing lab robots self-driving. And we did it. Thanks to large language models, you can talk to our robot just like a human to instruct it. It's read all of your research. It can react to experimental data and make decisions. It writes to a digital lab notebook, just like a perfect human scientist.
By retrofitting existing systems, Tetsuone multiplies throughput by 12x. We are unleashing scientific labor to tackle the real issues.
Today's lab automation market is worth $6.8 billion, but we are expanding that to chase the $300 billion science R&D market. We are ushering in a new era of science. Yesterday's science was based on execution. Tomorrow's science will be based on imagination. Join us in creating the future of science.
So our last pitch, to wrap us up, we have Joe and Eric of Womp Labs. Now, Joe we actually found when we were running an underground chess tournament in New York. And Joe and Eric have told me to tell you that if you want to know where the name Womp came from, please speak to them directly. Let's welcome Joe and Eric.
Hi, I'm Joe. I'm Eric. And we're building Womp Labs. When AI systems fail, the results can be disastrous. Take the example of Cruise. They were forced to sideline all 950 of their self-driving cars because one of them malfunctioned and dragged a woman down the street. You see, failures like this come from training on the wrong data. And we are training massive models on trillions of tokens. Identifying the few that cause them to break is an incredibly complicated problem. But right now, the entire industry is dead wrong on how to solve it.
Everyone else uses embeddings to analyze their data sets. But these only show what the models see, not how they learn. Instead, we use gradients, which are exact representations of the impact data has on a model. Our methods are already 4 times more effective at making targeted changes to machine learning models. And with our platform, teams can increase robustness, reduce time to market, and expel sources of catastrophic risk.
I was an ICEF finalist for research in efficient data attribution. After, I was the first employee at Insight Cyber, where I built their anomaly detection engine from the ground up, now deployed in Fortune 500 and government networks.
I was a 3-time gold medalist at the US Science Olympiad National Tournament. I then worked on low latency systems at Infineon, high performance computing at Citadel, and built the world's most memory efficient real-time operating system.
We are going to look back on these past 5 years and realize we have been driving blind. There is a fundamental gap in the model building stack, and the missing piece is Womp. Thank you.